So before I go into announcements, who wants to share a win? I feel like we stopped doing that for a bit and I want to get back into it. So share something that went well this week, or you can, as always, you can always share something that was like not so great. Whether it was in your personal life, business, whatever. Who wants to share a win?
I'll go. So I was having a really bad day today, and there were people on our team, like, you know who you are, that I talked to like all day long that totally made me feel way, way better. So that was my win for the day, being able to like depend on you guys, you know who you are, to like cheer me up, because it totally made my day less shitty than it was. Sorry if there's kids on the call too.
It's fine. I dropped some kind of like curse word at some point on the call, like every single time. Thanks, Kim. Anybody else have a win they want to share? Anything that happened, even if it wasn't in this past week, just something that happened this month? Anything? Oh yeah.
Sorry, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was waiting to not be driving. I'm at a red light.
I appreciate you being here.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm actually on my way to a softball game, and I'm going to be like listening in, and hopefully I won't be called to play, so I can actually take notes. But the personal win is my therapist actually told me that I need to go back to grad school so that I can become a therapist, because I just ooze love too much, and I would be really good at it.
That's awesome. I love that.
No, but I also got him signed up.
Look at you. Oh my gosh.
Scotty. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my god.
And I have another prospect, so that would be 2 out of my 3 so far. So just trying to get everybody signed up. So.
Oh, girlfriend, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, who else? I think somebody else. Jess, were you gonna share?
Yeah. So, I've been rocking my posts lately.
Yes,
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm getting a lot of feedback from them. So that's super exciting.
It is. And let me shout out Jess for real, because like she's the kind of person that you tell her to do something, she takes it and she runs with it. She just like applies it. And I was helping her out with her social media, and she literally like just applied everything and has been crushing it, rocking it, doing all the things. So I'm glad that you're getting feedback. See the things I share. I promise I don't share these things just like made up stuff, guys. It really, really works. I'm glad. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
Something.
Who? Yeah, go ahead.
So I am like trying to get back into the swing of things in general, but I got over my fear of video inviting the other day, and I recorded myself talking, and then about 30 seconds into me talking, and I started really strong, so I didn't want to restart. I realized I was in a towel.
I've done that.
So I just sent this video of me in a towel right before I was getting in the bath, inviting people, and I had the best response I think I've ever gotten to an invite ever, and everyone was laughing. So yeah, that's my win. I got over my fear and also made a fool out of myself, and it worked in my favor.
That should be the tagline of my business. I have been successful because I have made a fool of myself. Did you see the picture I posted today on my Instagram story? It was like a picture from like this angle. My hair was all over the place. Like I have sent video invites with like masks on and stuff. So girl, I'm glad that you did that. Like the more I'm like in the middle of something, the more I'm recording my invites, because not that I'm like doing it on purpose, but like I want to show people that I don't have to like have my camera sitting with like my diva light on and then sending the invite, because then they think that they have to do that. So you go, girlfriend. I have a bunch of people that signed a coach up, signed a girl up for UPF on Sunday. Yeah, oh my gosh, I just signed up somebody for UPF for the first time in forever, just UPF on its own. So go UPF. What else? Working on another girl tonight for Bot Chico. Yeah, sending invites. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, awesome. So let's get into the call. I have a few announcements before we get into it. And I'm just going to tell you now, I'm not going to call anyone out on this call, but I am going to ask, and the way I have this call planned, if no one plays with me here, this will go terribly. So not putting any pressure on you, but I am putting full trust in my team and the universe that this is going to go well and people are going to engage with me. I know It's not that if you don't share, you don't have my back, because I understand it can be scary for some people, but I know that there will be a few of you that will share. But some announcements I have before that. So obviously, if you haven't seen yet, the 7-day training is up. I am not posting that anywhere. It is just something that you as a coach will have. If you've already been through a ton of trainings, like you're not going through the training or you're not doing it. I mean, I recommend still looking through it, but just message me. I will give you the link. And then if you are a brand new coach, you need to one, and I'm going to make like a graphic of like, here's the steps you take in order to go through all the training. You get the welcome guide, you go through the 3-day quick start, you get access to the 7-day training, and then the 21-day coach training. The only thing you need to do to get access to that is to have gone through all of that and then hit Emerald. So we're changing it up where obviously Emerald was like how you had to get any training. Now it's like you get a ton of training before you get the big one. And I'm calling that like an academy. It's going to be like the 21-day Team Confidence Coach Academy. And you're also going to get like a message thread with that as well. I'm still trying to figure out if I want one for the 7-day, but we will figure that out. I've only had one coach request access to the 7-day training. So if you are interested in going through it, or you have coaches that you would like to send it to, again, they need to go through the 3-day quick start as well. Just let me know and I'll be happy to send that to you. What else? Also, for those of you, I was like really not surprised, but pleasantly, I guess, surprised. I don't want to say surprised. I don't know the word I'm thinking of, but I can't think of a word. But when I shared a post in the team page and said who wants to be a part of like an elite push drive for the end of the year, I was not expecting that many people to reach out. So I am going to make like a Facebook thread. It's basically going to be like the idea of like a Success Club push thread all for the rest of the year. Because obviously we're going to hit elite. We are ranked number 334 in the company right now, which is amazing. But we only have 8 points in the category that we need 50 points in by the end of the year. So we need like 42, 43 points or something like that. I'm bad at math. I could be completely wrong. But in order to do that, we have to keep making sure that we consistently are hitting Success Club, especially newer coaches. I mean, everybody should. And then the other thing is that, I guess that's it. Well, I shared something in the team page on Sunday. Not sure if anybody saw it. It was Saturday, about doing a fantasy football like team thing. I know not everybody plays fantasy football, but I had 2 girls that were interested, and I have some other girls from other teams that were interested. If anybody does play fantasy football, I am not going to teach you how to do it. If you want to learn how, you can go to YouTube. I love you guys, but I'm not teaching you how to play fantasy football. But if you do want to be a part of that, let me know, because I'm possibly, if we have enough people going, you put that together. And then one other thing, because you guys seem to love Christina Battaglia on the team call we had last week, because she was making like everybody laugh. She was hilarious, right? Well, she reached out to me and Colleen and said that she wants to run a social media belief push group for all of our teams. So you can be a part of a push group with her and her 15-star team and Colleen's 8-star team and all of us together in a push, not a like an invite push or like a diamond push. It's literally just a push where we're going to show you all about social media, building up that confidence and belief in yourself, which kind of is obviously what I'm talking about tonight, which it's not really talking about. We're going to really talk some things out today. So let's get into this call. Okay. So I'm going to ask some questions of you guys, but what I'm asking, I know it would be, and Jaslyn, I know you just want to be a part of the group because you just thought she was like the funniest person on the planet. So I want to ask you guys some prompt questions, but if anybody is comfortable right now, right off the bat, sharing, when I put that poll in the team page this morning, I said, if you could talk about a topic for team call tonight, what would it be? And the majority voted, I'm not confident in myself. I don't have belief in myself. I'm struggling with the whole belief thing. So obviously that's like vague. So I want to know, and I have some prompts, but if anybody wants to unmute themselves, you can share in the chat box if you want, and then you can still do that, but I'm looking for someone who just wants to share right now on the team call. What's the reason that you don't believe in yourself? Is it that you're afraid you're going to be salesy and you just simply don't want to reach out? Is it that you literally don't believe that you can see success? Because I think that that's probably one of the biggest things, is that you look at these other coaches, you look at me, you look at some of the leaders on the team, you look at people who share like Katie Schultz, who like hit diamond in 3 weeks and like hit elite in like 2 days or something like that. Like you see people like that and you're like, good for them. But that literally cannot happen for me. I cannot see it. Like you compare being successful with Beachbody with like how I compare going to space. I really want to go to space. Okay. Like I want to be not an astronaut, but like I want to at some point in my life go to the moon. I just want to see what it's like in space. And that seems very like impossible to me, but I want to make it happen. And I feel like some of you guys look at this business like that. Like you're like, I know I'm going for it, but like, am I really going to do anything with it? So does anybody, no, I really want to go to space. I'm not kidding with you, Kim. I am obsessed with space. Like I don't understand like anything. When people ask me, what's the meaning of life? That blows my mind. Like, why are we actually here? Like, can you answer that? Like, what's the reason that like human beings are like human beings? Like what? Don't even get me started. Every like Netflix documentary that is about space, I've seen it, I've watched it. It's amazing. So anyway, I'm kidding. Getting off the topic here. Of course it doesn't surprise you. So does anybody just want to come on here? And I just want us to talk this out. This is like a virtual team bonding thing. I have some things to share, but like it'll help me help you. And if you share, somebody else can feel the same way as you. So what is the reason that you do not think, Kim, stop laughing at me. We have to get serious. Come on, guys. What is the reason, anybody who wants to share, that you do not believe in yourself, or you do not believe that you're not confident, you don't believe you can be successful in this business? Anybody want to share?
I think, and I've been in this business for 3 years, and it's come and gone. I have good days and bad days, and I can honestly say my biggest thing is like, I just feel like I'm annoying, right? Like, am I even like, do people really want to follow me? Are people actually interested in watching me, or are they just there for my cats? Like that kind of stuff that I face all the freaking time in my head. It's like, man, I'm just annoying today. Nobody wants to follow me. Nobody wants to be my friend. Nobody wants to blah, 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 blah. And like, even for someone who's relatively successful in this business, I still face those things all the time, like every day.
Yeah. So your thing is when you're posting or inviting, or is literally everything you're thinking, am I annoying people, or do people find me annoying?
I think it's more on the posting side of things, because I don't have a lot of fear with inviting. I'm like, if they think I'm annoying when I invite them, they're just going to ignore me, and that's okay. But it's more like, am I sharing good enough content that I'm not annoying people with being who I am? Like, that's just who I am, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think when it comes to posting, the reason why we might be a little bit more sensitive to that, and then some people might be the opposite way. They're like, I don't care, I'll post anything, but oh my God, I am so afraid to send an invite. So it's interesting that, kind of everybody falls in different boats. But I think with social media, one of the biggest things that makes it so tough is that we are opening ourselves up to anybody on the internet. In a one-on-one conversation that's in the, in the DMs, like it can only go so far, but it feels so much more. It's like you're literally like walking out in your towel and just like opening it up to the world. Like, hey, I'm here. So it can seem a lot more nerve-wracking because you're overthinking, and then you see all these people on social media. So I think that the biggest thing with that, when it comes to sharing on social media and not worrying about being annoying, obviously, I think my first answer for anybody's things, obviously, is going to be working on that personal development. I'm trying to think. There's a book called, the lady who wrote did Eat, Pray, Love, I think. She wrote a book called Big Magic.
Oh, I love that book.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good book. I feel like she just talks about like owning what you got. There's a lot of other books. And if anybody knows of any like personal development books that they can recommend in there. But I think that even though, Jess, you've been doing this business for a while, I feel like you've really been like putting the pedal to the metal over just the past few months, which is awesome because like you hit diamond recently. I think that it really comes with time, which is one of the things you don't want to hear, right? Like you just want to hear what's the answer so I can just start doing it right now and fix all my problems. But like I've told you guys a million times, you've heard me say, like when I first started, I wouldn't share my face on social media. I wouldn't share different things because I was afraid of people judging me, or I was afraid of what people thought. And the only thing that I can, if I really think back about like why I can literally post, like if it wasn't bothersome or wouldn't get me blocked on social media, if I needed to like post very risque pictures, not like sexy pictures, but like something where it would like bother people or possibly get me blocked, like I would do it if it would like make someone laugh or whatever. But the only reason I've gotten to that point is simply because I've just done it enough where you build up that thick skin. I think you build up the thick skin, and I think you almost like need to have moments where your worst fears happen, where someone tells you you're annoying or whatever. And then you have that moment and you feel awful but then you're like, okay, I'm still here. I'm still alive. Nothing happened. That moment kind of sucked, but I'm still here, and I'm still here to inspire people, because at the end of the day, if I post something and if I post my like shuffling or my pre-workout dances and there's 10 people that see it and 9 of them think I'm the biggest weirdo in the entire world, but one of them, it freaking inspires their day and they're the happiest person ever, then that's all I really care about. But the only way you can really get to that, I really think, is building up that thick skin. So I think it comes with time. And Jess, I feel like you do a really good job of being yourself. I think maybe you're sharing it, maybe you still have those feelings, but you're still doing it anyway. I feel like you're doing it the right way because you're building that thick skin and knowing that like you're doing it anyways. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm
Yeah, that's probably why I think I'm annoying, because I am so myself, and I'm like, come on, who wants to watch my cats other than me?
Well,
Thank you,
who
Jen.
wants
I
to watch
appreciate it.
me other
Thank
than
you, guys. Yes, you too, Jen.
yeah.
Thank you.
I think people are here for our animals. Like everybody always just cares about Ned, but it's reminding yourself when you get those messages. And I've talked about this before too, is that rarely, honestly, guys, like I don't think a lot of us get like 10 things of like hate DMs in our Instagram all the time. We so much focus on the things that like we worry about, or like the occasional like message that makes you feel a certain way, but we totally forget about the amazing comments on our post in our challenge group, or that message from someone that said something nice about your post or your page or whatever. And we kind of write those off because it's so much easier to pay attention to the things that we don't like to hear than it is to pay attention to the things we do hear. So just make sure you're putting like your awareness on, like your hyper awareness to the good things that are coming in, because you'll remind yourself like, I am doing good things. There are people that were going to want to connect with me. And who has seen the show My Strange Addiction? When I was at my bachelorette party, or not mine, but like my friend's party, the people were eating the weirdest stuff, like rubber tires and glass, and girls eating deodorant, like, and people are still friends with those people. So if people can eat deodorant, I'm not saying they shouldn't be, because obviously they have some deeper things that they have to work on. But if people can eat deodorant, this girl was eating rubber tires and she had a fiance. Again, that might sound really mean, but like you understand the point I'm getting at. Like someone said, you eat tires and I still love you. If someone can eat tires and then get married and have a happy relationship, you can share and be yourself on social media 100%. That is all I have to say about that. The show is super weird.
And I also just want to mention too that like, if somebody truly found you like annoying, they could just unfollow you. Like it's not like all of like you just have 5,000 followers of people who just like don't like you. Like it's important to keep in mind that like they're following you, you know, for a reason. It's because they like you. You know, it's not just like they would unfollow you if they found it annoying. So
exactly. That's a really good point to make, because I lose followers all the time, and I'm sure people come to my page because they see one post and then they hang out and they're like, this girl is not at all what I thought she was. Like, I was just here for like her shuffling or pictures of her butt or something. And then they're like, why is she like such a weirdo? But I'm okay, because when you push out the bad, you'll attract the good, and then you'll end up with a team that is into the same things as you. And obviously not everybody's going to be the same thing, but you kind of get what I mean. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Sarah said, I'll never forget that pep talk. Yes, remember, when you worry about people caring or thinking that you're annoying, remember that people eat tires and eat deodorant and they still have lots of friends. So anyway, does anybody else? I'd like at least 3 people to share. Okay.
I do.
Go ahead. Oh, we have lots of people. Let's do it. Who wants to go? Jaslyn, you're unmuted, so you go.
Oh, okay. So I might cry.
It's okay. We cried at the retreat. It's cool.
I think a part of it started with the whole annoying thing, and this is me sticking with my really not really negative, because I know upstairs mentally that it's not actually true, but emotionally this is how I feel, because of friendships that have lasted for so long, and recently they have all just kind of broken apart. But I know it's because I am trying to put my family into a better place, into the Beachbody world, a healthier lifestyle long term, and not binging and doing all that stuff, whatever. But I think one of my really big things is, what if I find all these women that think I'm so cool and inspirational and I'm just their type of person, and then one day they just go, you know what, I kind of just outgrew her. I'm I'm over it. I'm done. And I know it won't be an entire team. You have hundreds of people, and that's just looking at the negative part. But in the back of my mind, it's like, why am I going to set myself up for someone to not love me and see me that way? So that's my thing.
Yeah, so that's a real, totally real thing. I think, and I've shared this with other coaches before. I don't say this as like in a doomsday type of way, but after doing this for 6 years, more than I would have expected, I have seen coaches come into this business, and after a few months, they get out of their relationship, they lose friends, they're no longer, and it's literally not because of Beachbody, like we're pulling people away. It's the idea that you're bettering yourself and that people aren't okay with it. And I'm sure you guys have heard of the crab mentality, where a bunch of crabs are in a barrel. If one crab tries to escape, all the other crabs will grab it by its legs and pull it back in because they don't want that other crab to go away. That's what happens with this business. It doesn't mean that we're better than the people who don't want to better themselves. It's not at all that way. It just means that there are going to be friendships and things that disintegrate. And I always believe in the book, The Universe Has Your Back, she talks about how people are assignments in your life. There are some people that are assigned to you for a day, a month, 2 months, 3 years, 10 years, however many years. And when their assignment is done, which some of them are assigned forever, and some of them are only assigned to teach you a lesson or to have some experience that you had at one point, but they no longer are there in a way to serve you. That kind of sounds like they're like your slave, but that's not what I mean. But you know what I mean? So I think it's important to remind yourself that those things will happen. But just as someone going into a new relationship with somebody they'd been dating for, I dated a guy for 7 years and then I broke up with him and I was like, am I really able to like date people again? Like, this is super strange. It might seem silly, but like, it's the same thing. You have been hurt because of lost friendships with, no matter what happened, it still hurts to lose friends. So you feel like you said, you're kind of setting yourself up in that way, like you want that to happen again. So I think that you have to work around that fear, and whatever it is you have to journal about or write about, and like write things in the book. I think I was just talking about it in our Voxer thread. The book by Byron Katie, it's Loving What Is. In it, she has this whole prompt where you write down, you think about a person or think about a situation or think about a group of people, and you write down everything negative that you would just love to say. Like, it can be something that's so hurtful that if someone would read it, they literally would think you were Hitler, but like you just write it all out. And I wrote stuff about Pat, I wrote stuff about my mom, and then I immediately like burned it and like ripped it up, whatever. And then you write also why those things are not true. So, and what that does is it helps you figure out, okay, why am I feeling this way? It allows you to feel the things you feel. And you guys can do this about any fear, anything that you're worried about. And then you write why those things aren't true. And then you consistently have to remind yourself, because it's always work on your mind, about why those things aren't true. Because you're awesome, Jaslyn. I cannot stand your pun jokes all the time, even though I really love you. But there are people that are going to love that. And there are going to be people that like join you and decide to leave in this business. And I never really thought about that. I'm kind of glad that you brought that up, because like if I think about where I am now to where I was 6 years ago to where I am now, I have maybe 5% of the people I started with. A lot of the people that I'm friends with are the people that are around. Some of them have been, are with me for that long, but a lot of them have left. And that has been like their decision. And I think that you have to have a good balance of, because you are the way you are, you're a lover, like you want to take care of people, like you have your like Galentine's thing or whatever the heck you do, which is like the cutest thing ever. Like, you're a good friend, but you have to remember that doesn't mean you aren't friends with the people that come into this, but you have to understand that some people, because what industry we're in, guys, is really rewarding, but it's really difficult to get people to stick to it. So when it comes to health and fitness, doesn't mean you still can't be friends with people. I'm friends with plenty of people that are no longer coaches on the team, but you don't want to necessarily like latch on and become emotionally attached to every single person that joins your team. You can love on them, you can care about them, but no, like, I mean, in the sense of like, you don't want, when if they decide that this isn't for them, or they decide that that you're not the right fit, you don't want to be like heartbroken every single time they leave. And it can be difficult to do that. I don't even know a personal development book that might be a good one to kind of talk about those kind of attachments. So hopefully this is
Stop loving people so much.
yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean that you can't like love on your team. Like, you totally can. It's just about making sure that and remind, well, I guess the 4 Agreements would be a good book with that, because it talks about not taking things personally. When people decide to join me and they were super excited and then they peace out and I never hear from them again, Chelsea Pearson always talks about bless and release. Like, if they still want to be friends with me and they want to like hang out, whatever, that's cool. But if they decide that like I'm not for them at all and they just want to peace out, like I just have to be okay with that and bless and release. So I know that's harder to hear, but I think just working, like I said, on that fear that people are going to join you and then they're going to leave you. It has nothing to do with you because you're an awesome person and I'm not going anywhere unless you kick me out. So at least I'm here.
You're good.
Okay. So hopefully that was helpful, but that's a good point that you brought up. I never actually really thought about that. Okay. Cecilia, why don't you go next? Cause I know that you're at something. We don't want you to get pulled away.
Thank you. I think there are enough girls here, so I won't be called in, so we're good. But I think I don't remember who was speaking first. I'm sorry, I missed the name of the person that was talking first.
Or was it? No, who was it? Who was it?
The one that was afraid of.
Oh, Jessica. Sorry.
Okay, Jessica. I think I have the kind of the opposite problem of that, because I can be super vulnerable in posts, and I've never had a problem with posting on my pages. It's the messaging part. And so I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I started strong in the beginning, and then as soon as you start sending messages, I feel like nobody responds. So I don't know if it's people just not being active on Messenger and not, I don't know, checking them or wanting to respond, or if they just kind of ghost you afterwards. And I think that's kind of where I lost the momentum and interest, because I was just like, well, I keep trying and then nobody's responding. But then I had a friend that I had reached out to with our first set of promo codes, and nobody responded to any of those messages. And then she talked to me in person, was like, I got your message, I'm thinking about it. But then like didn't say that in the message. So here I am thinking that all of the people that I'm messaging just stop bothering me, leave me alone, but still following me and complimenting on, you're so inspirational. And I'm like, but how do I get you from you're so inspirational to join me?
Yeah, I think the key word about this, and again, if anybody has not read the 4 Agreements, it's really, really great. It helps you with all aspects of life, but it's great for a lot of people to apply in this business. The biggest word that comes to mind when I hear coaches share this is assumptions. When you assume, what do? You know what you do. So I think I always assume the best. I've always been that way. Pat and I are the complete opposite. We can meet someone and he's like, I don't trust this person. I'm like, oh my God, they're my best friend. And like, I'll just think people are like, I always assume the best. I think people have the best intentions. And I'd rather assume that and then find out later that they don't. Because some people are like, well, I don't want to get hurt. For me, I'd rather treat them that way. And if they hurt me, then that's on them. That's just how I've always been. So I think the reason why I can send invites and I don't care is because I assume if someone didn't respond, it has nothing to do with me. It's not that I'm annoying. It's not that they're not interested in me. It's that it's them. They're struggling with, because I could guarantee, I can't, but I would like to say that the majority of people that don't respond to your messages when you guys message out to them, one, you always want to make sure that you're sending me screenshots. Let me see what you're saying. I can always tweak those, make sure you're wording it the right way. But when it comes to sending messages and people don't respond, you could have sent it to a mom and they opened it and then their kid like pooped on the floor and then they're like, oh my God, and they have to clean up and they never remember to open up the message. And you're sitting there like, oh my God, like you think I'm so annoying. They hate me. They hate my Instagram. I'm stupid. I hate everything. And they're literally like, dude, I didn't even see your message. You know what I mean? And like, I've been there before. So like, I totally know what you mean. But again, I assume that happened. I assumed that they read that and they are crapping their pants at the idea of committing to a group, and it has nothing to do with you. Because I think when you also do that, it helps you bring a different energy to your messages, because you're not, when you send the message, because if you send out a message and you're like, I don't want to annoy this person, what if I send it? And if I send it, like, she's probably going to think I'm annoying, but like maybe that she'll like it. And like when you do all of that like nervous energy, like I learned this weekend, I guess I know it with animals, but I didn't realize like babies can feel your energy. I don't hold a lot of babies because they freak me out, but I went home and I saw my my aunt's new baby. It's like 2 months old, and I was holding it, and the minute it started crying, I like was like, oh my God, what do I do? And like I started freaking out, and like everybody was like making fun of me. They were like, just still hold the baby. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hold this baby. Like, take it from me. And like, the more I was like, take it away, take it away, take it away, the baby started crying even more and more. And my aunt was like, it literally can feel how anxious you are. I 100% believe that if you're anxious, if you're worried, if you don't believe in yourself, that energy goes into your messages. And it doesn't matter if you invited every single person on Instagram, you would not hit your goals because of the energy that you're bringing to it. So I know you're kind of asking like, why? But I think it starts with that. So you have to make sure that that's why I talked about on the team call last week, like prime yourself, like put your favorite music on, like say affirmations, like right before you send your invites. And that's why you should make like invites a thing versus randomly inviting. Cause I know that's what some of you guys do. I did it too. But when you do that, that's when you have more time to like think about it or do this and that. And if you don't have that feeling, then go ahead. But I like to plan my invites. I do my invites every single morning. I wake up in the morning, I do my morning stuff. I say my meditations, affirmations before I either touch my phone or my computer. Well, I guess I'm touching my phone to send the invites. I do my like woke stuff from Sacred. Like I lift up my frequency. I put on my favorite like Spotify playlist, and then I send my invites. And so it's just the energy that I bring makes the whole thing totally different. So I think that that's where it starts. The other thing is send me screenshots so I can see exactly what you're saying. And then it's just consistently showing up. The other piece of this, or the last piece of this, is that if you're sending invites, but you are not being a consistent person on social media, sharing every day on your feed, not just your feed and your story, and showing people what commitment looks like, you will get ghosted more often. I send 10 to 20 invites a day, and I maybe get 2 to 3 people to respond a day, maybe. But I do that every single day, and I consistently get more responses because I'm consistent on social media. So I would say it starts with the mindset, could be a little bit of things that you're saying, and then it would be the consistency on social media, and then just making sure if all of those things, you're checking all those boxes, that you're working on the energy, whether it's the lack of confidence or you're worried that you're going to annoy people. You have to work on that. So then when you're sending your invites, it's a totally different space. So.
I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Who else wanted to go? Amanda, did you want to go? Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. So I might cry, like, Jaslyn,
It's okay.
So my whole issue stems from literally my family and my childhood. I've always been told, you're not good enough for this, you're not good enough for that. I was literally in a relationship with somebody, and I was told, oh yeah, their family's too good for you, by my sister. So it really sucks when you have somebody that you care about so much saying that to you, and it really gets you down. So I've been trying to do everything I can to basically battle this demon I have inside my head saying that I'm not good enough for this, that, or the other thing. And I really don't believe in myself. So that's why I haven't been posting. I haven't been sharing anything. I haven't been doing invites, because if I don't believe in myself, like you said, nobody, they're not going to believe in me either. So it really sucks, but I think I just need like a big like smack in the head or something. My child just walked in the room. But yeah, I just, at this point in my life, like I'm turning 30 and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Girl, none of us do. It's social media that shows anybody that they need to know what they're doing. But how many times have you talked to like a 40 or 50-year-old? They're like, I just figured it out. Like nobody has anything figured out. So don't worry about that. So my first thing when it comes to, because I work with like my one-on-one clients, and this always seems to be something with like either parents or family or something like that. So one, know that you are not alone in this. I know it can feel like everybody's family is just always so loving and caring, and they're just hugging everybody and all the time. Like everybody's got their own family issues 100%. So you're not alone in that. Number two is know you're allowed to feel that way, because that sucks to have those things happen. Nobody, wants to, I've been there before too, with like the, you aren't good enough for the family type of thing. Not from a sister. I'm sure that's tough, but I've definitely been in that same position, and it can make you question yourself. And this is just a side thing. Have you ever done therapy, gone to therapy about this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. I just want to make sure that, because that would be one of my first suggestions, because
Yeah. He prescribed me antipsychosis medications, and I literally never took them because I was like, yeah, that's my problem.
yeah, I would maybe see a new therapist, because for me, one of the things that like I got through with I actually did hypnotherapy, and it's not just like where they hypnotize you and then they fix all your problems and then like you don't smoke a cigarette anymore. It's like both, but I learned that my binge eating, when I was struggling with my eating disorder, came from when I was younger, not ever feeling like I was good enough for my mom. She never told me I wasn't good enough, but I always got in trouble for having like a bad memory and like the different things that I wasn't doing right. And so when I really found a therapist that like worked well with that, they dug deeper into it, and like, you're not just saying, hey, take these, medications. Because I think that kind of stuff, personal development books are great. Podcasts are great. All of that stuff is great. But if you have real deep-seated things that are stemming from like some deep stuff, a personal development book it can help, but like you got to really do that. So do you do journaling? Do you write about this stuff? Like, what have you done to actively kind of work through something like this?
I have literally done everything that's ever been told to me to do. I actually did see like a counselor at one point when I was in school and my dad died. I was like, hey, so like, what do I do about all of this negativity? And she said, journal, make sure that you write everything down, write all the negative things down, but write down most of the positive. And I said, okay. So I've been literally journaling every day for the past almost 3 years now. And it's just, and then after I finish with the journals, I burn them because hell, I don't want that in my life.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't feel that it's making a difference.
Do you feel like you have progressed at all with any of this stuff, or do you feel like you're in the same spot you were when you started?
I honestly feel like it's regressing, if anything, because so like when my stepdad died and everything, and my dad died, he was the person that believed in me the most. And this is where the crying comes. And he thought, like, I started to go to college for law clerk. And he said, you could do so much more, go to university, get your degree, and then go for a lawyer. You could do that, and I believe you could. And then he passed away midway through my first semester of law clerk program. And then I decided I was going to apply to university and see if I could get in. And I did. And I was literally a week away from starting school. And my sisters and my mom and my dad and everybody got into my head, and they said, you're not going to finish this. You never finish anything. What are you even wasting your time for? And I pulled the plug and I didn't go. And it still sits with me to this day that I could have been most of the way finished to be a lawyer. But now I'm not going to do that. And I'm refusing to do it simply because of my beliefs right now.
Okay, so this is just my personal opinion. Obviously, you're allowed to do whatever you want, but I've always felt strongly that if there is someone in your life that makes you feel a certain way, I do not care if they birthed you. You do not have any responsibility to have communication with that person. It doesn't mean that you need to cut ties, but there was a point with my own mother where I was doing Beachbody, and she was like, and she was always a person that believed in me, but she was like, when are you going to get a job? When are you going to get a job? Why are you doing this? This is not going to turn into anything, blah, blah, blah. And I told her, I said, I am no longer going to share anything good that happens in my life with you. If you need to let me know something and we need to communicate something, we can do that. But right now, I don't feel like communication with you is beneficial to me right now. And we didn't talk for months. If she needed to let me know something, she did. But if people are telling you those kinds of things, and it doesn't mean that they have to be treating you like that all the time, because there be people that say things where they don't even realize that they're doing those things to you. So I don't know if you've had that conversation with them, like, hey, this is how you make me feel. This isn't okay. And then however they respond, because they could be like, oh, I didn't even realize that what I was saying was hurtful. Or they could have one thing. But I think that doesn't mean you have to cut ties with your entire family. But I think distancing having some space from them and lean into people that care about you and believe in you, because every single person, whether somebody on this call knows you or not, I can promise you, if you lean into me, if you lean into the team page, if you, and I'm not saying Beachbody can fix everything, but like, I don't know how many of you guys followed the story of Christina Delgado and Monica Lopez. Like, Monica Lopez's sister just committed suicide, and like everything with the community of all of that, and how much leaning into the team and leaning into people that are there for you can be so powerful. If you don't have anybody to believe in you right now, I believe in you. We believe in you. And if that might not be the same as, you know, your family, but if that's what you have right now, like, it's here for you. It's been here for you. It will always be here for you. And that's the reason why we're here. We're not just here for workouts and nutrition, and all of those things are fun and wild and dandy. But like, at the end of the day, like, if you don't have that right now, we are all here for you for that. So I would say, like, lean into that for now, you know, keep doing the things that you're doing. And you can always message me privately. I have some other things I can share with you, but like, message me about this stuff. I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. But I would just say lean into the team and start with baby steps. Because if you look at like, you know, going back to law school or doing anything like that, like if you looked at doing that as like something that you needed to do, it's like this big giant picture thing. If you can look at, okay, I know what I need to do. I don't need to think about posting on social media for the next like 6 weeks. Let me just say, what can I do in the next 3 days? Can I post something on social media? Can I message someone that I know is going to make me feel good and say, hey, can you comment on my post? I've literally messaged like my mom and my sister. I think I probably messaged Kim before, like, hey, I posted something. Can you comment on my post right now? Like, there's nobody commenting. I'm struggling a little bit. Like, just to have somebody like give you that little bit of boost. Obviously, I think that there's obviously stuff that you have to work on like outside of this, but in terms of like, you know, the business side of things, focus on the little things that you can do, because by doing that, you're going to continuously and slowly stomp on all of the negative things that people have said to you. Like, no, you can't do this. Yes, I can. No, you can't do this. Yes, I can, by doing those little things. Because you can't think of taking this big giant step right now. Because that's when it seems overwhelming. That's when it seems like, oh my gosh, I can do all these things. So just focus on the little things. And like I said, message me. We can kind of figure some things out, because I would love to have a call with you and kind of talk a little bit more about this. But
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. I know this stuff's not easy. Okay. Anybody else would like, I think we had some other people that wanted to share.
I can go.
Yeah.
Everybody else wants to share. So I think that my like biggest mindset thing, and the thing that has really kept me from like hitting the next level, is building a like really successful business, and where I'm like able to do it full time. I have like a large team, and then having something happen where like it all goes away, and like not being like and like having to like either like rebuild or do something else. And like I'm pretty sure it comes from like my dad losing he had his own business that he also, yes, stems from my Instagram trauma. Maybe I manifested losing my Instagram from that fear, but like, I think that's where it comes from, is like he had this really successful business, and then like with the economy crash in 2008, he lost it. So I think that's like what really keeps me from like getting more. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not like talking shit on myself. Again, sorry for swearing. I know there's probably kids on the call, but like, I'm not saying anything negative about myself. I feel like I am successful, but I just feel like that's what is preventing me from like reaching higher levels of success.
Is it more that you're afraid or is it, okay, so how do I wear this? Is it more that you're afraid to push more? Because it's kind of like Jasmine was saying, like, if I do this, I'm opening myself up to that possibility of like losing things. Is it that, or is it just that's a constant fear, and you think that it's just like sitting in you manifesting, but you're still doing it anyway? Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know if like,
I think it's both. No, it definitely makes sense. I think it's both. And I think that like, it's just I think that it's like, because obviously like I do the work. Like, I think to be, you know, at any kind of level of success, you have to be doing the work. But I feel like I'm like giving off that vibe of like, oh, some of these people can't join me because I can't be too successful. You know, I can't have, not that every person that I ever invited is going to join me, but like, I can't have 90% of these people like that I'm inviting join me, because then like, you know, I'm going to be too successful and then it's all going to go away. Like, and it sounds so silly to say it out loud, but
no, I think it's totally. Can you mute yourself for some reason? Sorry, I heard myself talking. So the simplest answer to that is you can't live life with what ifs. You know what I mean? Like, obviously that's easier said than done, but I have to remind myself of that all the time, because like I went from sleeping in my car to like making 6 figures. Like, to me, like the idea of ever in any way, shape, or form being back where I was is so god awfully frightening. But what I remind myself of, and I remind myself of this all the time, and like Beachbody's not going anywhere. But like, if something were to happen and Beachbody just exploded and I lost everything because I don't live with a plan B. I mean, I could think of something. I mean, I do one-on-one coaching, but like I literally put all of my like energy and effort into Beachbody because I love it. But at the end of the day, if that were to happen, I'll figure it out. It will be hard. It will be tough. But I have seen people go through bankruptcies and this, and then I'm sure your dad, obviously, again, and not that it's just like, oh, whatever, figure it out. But like, I just remind myself of that every day because I've been through some shit. So I'm just like, I can't live my life on what ifs. And I just try to focus on, even if that were to happen, I will figure it out because I'm so determined. And Kim, like, you are hella determined. You have more work ethic than the majority of people I've ever met in my life. Like, you bust your ass. So again, not like in a negative way, like, well, if it happens, but like, I think you can have trust and faith in yourself that even if that were to happen, and I think, again, he talks about it in the 4 agreements, is that you tell yourself when you're going into situations that you don't have any expectations, or you would like something to happen a certain way, but you're okay with the outcome. I think that's how he words it. So like, I applied that to when I was really struggling bad with anxiety and I was going to music festivals for the first time in my life. And I really don't like crowds. Like, I don't like crowds. Those of you who are probably with us at Summit, I'm like, we got to get to the outside. Like, I just can't be in crowds. It really freaks me out. But I would tell myself, like, if we had to go to a festival and you got to wait in line, like it like all goes into one and you're really tucked in before you get to go out again. And like, I would literally like start tearing up and have panic attacks in these crowds. And, but once I read that book, I was like, okay, how can I apply this to that? Cause it was really bothering me. And I was like, okay, if I go into this crowd and it gets super packed, I don't want it to get packed. I don't want that to be the situation. But if it does, I'm okay with the outcome. And it might seem really silly, but it was like a calming thing to me because I was like, I'm going to be okay. You know what I mean? And again, that's a lot easier said than done. But I think that that's really the only thing, because you don't ever know what will happen. I don't think anything's going to happen, but I think you just have to remind yourself that like, I can't live with what ifs, and just kick that to the curb and keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing amazing. I don't know if that was very helpful, because I'm basically just telling you to just say whatever, but okay, good. Anybody else?
I'll go.
Great.
So I think I've really like nailed down like being myself and showing up as myself. But it's like a weird thing. Like, I'm finally feeling like I'm actually becoming friends with people and that are like my people, not I'm just like scrounging for people. And I'm terrified to invite them because like I'm actually friends with them. It's a really weird thing. It's way easier for me to invite someone that I'm not friends with and sign someone up that I'm not friends with, as well as someone who I am friends with. And I don't know what that's about.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Think about somebody who you didn't even necessarily like meet on Instagram, somebody that's like your really close friend, somebody who you would like ask to be a bridesmaid in a wedding.
Yeah.
If they messaged you like a few months from now and they kind of seemed like a little bit like spacey or whatever, and then they messaged you and they're like, dude, I just joined this thing and I'm now making like $2 million every single month. Would you be mad that and you knew that they could have invited you to do it with you?
Oh, I'd be so pissed.
Right? So yeah. Chelsea Pearson, I think it's Chelsea Pearson or Bonnie Engel always says, like, I always think, like, if you have a friend, like, would they be mad if you made $2 million and you didn't tell them how they could do the same thing? And like, if it was something that they could do. So I try to remind myself of that and remind yourself. And then I think I talked about this in the Boss Up call last night. Melanie Mitro did a post where she said at one point in her business, she was like worried that like she was afraid to share about this business or about challenge groups or whatever with other people. And her husband said, do you think what we have to offer is a scam? do you think the workouts are a scam? Do you think Shakeology is a scam? Do you think Energize is a scam? And she was like, no, I love it. So then why not share that with people? We get afraid to share this business with friends or with people that we make friends with on Instagram because we're afraid that if we invite them, they will no longer want to be friends with us or they will feel a certain way about it. To me, if I invite someone and I'm afraid that I'm going to ruin the friendship, it would mean that I think that what I have to offer is going to hurt them in some way. But it's not. What we have to offer is going to help them. If they view what you're doing or what you're saying as she only wanted to be friends with me because she wanted to invite me to this, or this is a scam, that is totally on them. And if they're not even going to give me the opportunity to at least share what it is, then to me, I don't, and it doesn't mean that I expect everyone to do Beachbody, but to at least not get mad at me for asking. I have felt that way before plenty of times. And the majority of times when I send the invites, the people are really great with responses. And even if they're totally not interested, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for thinking of me. Like, that's so awesome, blah, 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 blah. But I can guarantee you, and you guys can probably agree with this, most of the responses that you get, if you do get a response, are way, like, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I thought that was going to go way worse. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's been like not so great responses, but a lot of times we're like, okay, I thought that was going to be way worse than it was. So I think that it's just working on trusting yourself and knowing that what you're sharing with them is not something to hurt them. We are sharing this. And you're not just sharing it with them because you're trying to make $1 off of them. Like, think about all the amazing experiences that we have and like going to Summit and the trips and things like that. Like, those memories are things that like I wouldn't trade for the world. And if it wasn't for someone simply offering up the opportunity to me or another coach, I would never have that. And that's what I try to share. Another little piece I can give to you is, and if anybody else wants to share, we can stay on here a little bit longer, but I want to make sure that we don't have everybody on here for forever, which I do appreciate you guys sharing so much. I love you. You're amazing and awesome. The thing to remind yourself of when it comes to sending invites and sharing things with people is that, crap, wait, oh my gosh, I had it on the tip of my tongue and it just disappeared. How do I lose what I was going to say in the middle of a sentence? What was
sit up and then sit down and then stand back up. My high school teacher used to tell me that all the time. I don't know if it works, but he used to always do that.
What was I saying before that about?
You were talking about. Now you got me messed up.
I think I was talking about the trips and inviting people and sharing that opportunity with others.
Like, you wouldn't have it if someone hadn't. I'm trying to think of what you were saying. You wouldn't have it if someone hadn't given it to you.
I don't remember what I was going to say. Crap.
It'll come back to you.
It was something about sharing with people, but I can't remember. I don't want to just sit here and like stare off into the distance. But it was something good. If I can remember, I will share it with you. But know that, like, at the end of the day, like, that is something that we all fear. And I think what you can do is just, that's what it was. It's calling out the fear. Let me say it before I forget again. Calling out the fear. So when I invite someone and I'm afraid I'm going to come off a certain way, I'll call out the fear so they can't call it out. Like, they can't say something. It's like you make fun of yourself. People can't make fun of you anymore. So, like, if I'm going to invite someone, I'll send them a voice invite. And I'm like, okay, I've been totally wanting to reach out to you about this. But, like, I literally have been talking to myself. I mean, if I message her about this, she's going to think that I'm, like, this big creeper person that's just messaging her about what I'm doing. But, like, I cannot express to you how much I absolutely love this. And I want you to be a part of this. I need you to be a part of this because this is a whole ass experience. And if you are not interested or you don't want to do it, it's totally fine. I just have this feeling and I want to share it with you. And something along those lines. And just saying that, because then if you say that and they have a negative response, then like, but I can guarantee you probably don't feel like they would, you know what I mean? So I will call out the fear when I'm messaging someone exactly how I feel and tell them how I feel. You might word it in a different way, however you want to word it, but I just feel like saying it kind of gets it off my chest. And I'm like, this is how I feel. I don't want you to feel this way because that's not even how I mean it. I don't know. Okay, anybody else want to share?
Thank you.
I will.
Or her. You can go first. Totally cool. Classic headband girl time.
Oh. Okay, Jess, you go.
Okay.
I guess right now it's just a little scary for me because this is my full-time job now. And I like, it's good. Like, I should be excited about this. Like, I keep calling myself homeless. I don't know why. But it's just new for me. I am someone that worked 50 hours a week and was very, like, my job was very demanding. I managed a veterinary clinic. Like, I was used to being in demand, and now, like, having all of this time for myself, like, super freaks me out. Because, like, I'm trying to build a structure, like, I'm making a schedule for myself so that, like, I don't just, like, wander around my house all day and play with my dog, because that literally happened one day. So I think for me, like, the limiting belief part of it is just that, like, I can do this. Like, I still feel like I'm kind of, like, playing pretend, or, like, like, I still don't feel like this is my only job, I guess. Like, it hasn't set in all the way yet. And I think about those things like Kim was saying about, like, you know, what if I do it? Like, I get huge, and then everybody's like, well, I decided to quit. It's like, and I just have to understand that that's part of the business, and, like, this is, like, that happens, and you just have to get another person and build it back up. So I think that's one of my biggest things is, like, knowing I can get that many coaches to be on my team and get to diamonds, so that's my goal. And do it still just having this as my job, you know, and like, have money.
Yeah. And I think that's like what everyone's fears, right? I'm sure everybody can agree with this on the call, that, like, you can, like, see it and taste it, but you're just like, how that it seems too good to be true. Like, how can I do that? But everybody can do that, but nobody, like, knows that feeling until you're there. So it's literally, like Shanti would say, it's trust and believe. You're trusting in that process and knowing that as long as you're doing the work and showing up, because you can't sit there and expect for it to fall into your lap. But if you're doing the work, those things can happen. And it comes with just trusting and believing that that process can happen. There is a coach that I'm going to message you about that is literally going through the same exact thing. And I think you guys would be perfect to work together. But in terms of your schedule, I think the one, you have to give yourself grace and know that it's going to take time to adjust. Number two is you need to fill your schedule. And we can talk about this, but you need to, like, if you're not used to having a schedule, you need business hours. You cannot just wake up at any time. You need to act like you have a regular job. And Lindsay Matway talks about it all the time, about when she was a brand new coach, she had no upline. She literally called in to sign up as a coach and sign up with no one. She said she constantly thought in a way about, or thought and handled situations in a way that a diamond coach would, that a 15-star diamond coach would. So that's what I'm doing. I want our team to be a 15-star diamond elite. So when I handle situations or people say things to me, or things happen on the team page or social media or whatever, I don't act like Alexis, who's the 5-star diamond with the 5-star diamond team. I think, like, how would someone who's a 15-star diamond elite coach who speaks at Summit and has written a book thinks? Like, you think like that, and it might seem really silly at first, and anybody, all of you can do that. So if you're like, I'm just a coach, like, think of how a diamond coach would handle somebody saying something to them on social media, or this happening or that happening. You just have to think about, put yourself in the position of that person, because then you will start to manifest that energy and you will push yourself in that direction. And then you'll wake up 6 months later and you're in a totally different spot and you're like, how did I get here? And it's not like one thing. It's just that all the little things, and doing things like that, I think really helps. And yeah, so that was something I forgot to mention when Kim was talking about that, or even Jasmine, like, what happens if you join and people quit? Guys, I don't want to break it to you, but most people don't stick around. They just don't. So people will join you and they will quit. Like, that's just how it is. From the first 10 people I signed up, first 20 people I signed up, no one's still here. No one. Almost every single person on this call, besides, like, the OGs that have been a part of this for, like, forever, like more than 3 years, I think almost every single one of I'd say out of 29 of you, there's maybe 21 of you that signed up after 2018. And I've been a coach since 2013. People come and go in this business. I'm still friends with a lot of those people, but that's what this business is. And Kim has said it before too. If you work at any other job. Like my boyfriend works at Capital One. There's no one working at Capital One besides like him and a few other people that worked there when he worked there in 2013. If you're at a restaurant, think about anybody who's been like a server at a restaurant for a long time. I worked at restaurants all the time and people would come and go. So it's not a Beachbody thing. It's an everything thing. If you want to open up your own business, you're going to have employees that come and go. It's just like the cycle of life. It's like Lion King. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how it'll be. And you just have to know that, like, it's not that you're here to be like a Coach Mill where you're just like, people come, people go, whatever, screw them. Like, I don't care. But it's being okay with you have to consistently bring new people in, again, just as you would with any other job. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I want to make sure that we get to everybody. I don't want to keep you guys. If anybody has to hop off, awesome. But if you want to hang on, I love you and you're amazing. So who else wanted to go? Jen, you wanted to go?
Yeah, so for me, one of my biggest things is I've been trying really hard to be present in myself in my stories, which I think I'm doing a good job on as of lately. And I've been getting a lot of really awesome feedback. But my problem is with my posting. So I struggle. I think like you and I have talked about like with my anxiety and my panic disorder in the past, but I struggle a lot with getting my thoughts and into words. So I have these ideas of things that I want to post, but I physically can't get them from my brain into words, like typed out words or written words. So that's where I feel like I really struggle.
So like you are like, oh, I know what I want to say. So I think there's two ways that this can go. Is it that you go to write it and you're like, that's not good enough to post and you're actually getting stuff down, or you're literally sitting there and you're like writer's block, blank, can't put anything on a piece of paper?
No, I'm literally sitting there and like nothing's coming out.
Okay.
But I have I have thoughts in my, like I feel like I sound crazy.
No, you don't sound crazy at all.
But like I have all of these like ideas and feelings and stories I want to share of my journey, and I like physically cannot get them out to share them. That's where I feel like I struggle a lot.
So I think that really comes down to working on like your creativity bone. And there are some people that like are super creative. Like they can think of all these ideas and whatever. Like my sister's like that. I'm creative some ways, but like my sister's so creative. If I tell her I need something, I just like go to her and she gives me ideas. So there's going to be some people that are good at that and some people who aren't. Some people are good at math. Some people are good at English. Some people can learn 25 languages and some people are barely like get through their day. So you have to recognize it as obviously that's a weakness for you. There's things that are weaknesses for me. So you got to say, okay, what can I do to work that muscle? It's just like if my triceps are so weak, it doesn't matter how many tricep dips and pulls and things like that. Like it's always like my weakest muscle, but I have to put more focus onto that. So you have to get those wheels turning. Now I'm not exactly sure of all the ways you can do that, but like, surrounding yourself with other really creative people and asking them like how they tick, like posting it in Team Page and says like who's super creative and can think of ideas, or like, you know, and then one of the simplest things you can do is just going on Instagram, finding people that you like to follow and not copying completely, but just kind of going off of what they're saying to give you a little bit of a basis to work from. And doing that enough over a short period of time, eventually you'll start to turn, just like you people who don't work out will start working out. They start to turn on muscles they didn't even know they had. That will happen with your creativity because you'll start surrounding yourself with creative people and you'll start being like, okay, I use this person's post. Oh, you know what? That idea that I have, I could totally apply what I saw her post about to this. Okay, let me write that down. But it's like something where you it's kind of like you need to put some WD-40 on those parts of your brain, because right. I totally know what that's like to kind of struggle with those things. But surround yourself with other creative people. You know, search YouTube videos, read books, different things like that. There's a book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, by Gary Vaynerchuk, that's really good for those kinds of things. But just do that, and then the more you do it, and it has to be consistent. You can't do this after team call for a week and then stop doing it and think that like that muscle will stay there. It has to be consistent over time, and you'll be surprised at like how far you come after a certain point. So.
Okay. I've actually like the whole like looking at other people's posts and kind of not so much like copying exactly what they're saying word for word, but I have had that thought recently in the last couple of days of like reading people's posts and being like, this is exactly how I'm feeling. Like, why can I not get these words out of my face or my like fingers to type them out?
Yeah.
But then I get these like when I just have this feeling of like, if I like, not like copy word for word, but if I take this post and say something similar and then they come across it, then my brain starts going in this spiral of like, what if they come across it or a follower comes across it and they're like, oh, you copied what they said. And then I just go in this downward spiral of anxiety.
So I don't know about anybody else, but I know Beachbody is a community of, most people have a mindset of abundance, not a scarcity mindset. You should see the kind of stuff that gets shared in the roundtable. Coaches just share everything and anything. And they're like, literally just copy me. Like, I don't care. Don't recreate your stuff. Like, this business and this community is about being inspired by this. Unless you're using every single word and not changing it at all, that's one thing. But if you're just using it for inspiration, most people are not going to get mad unless you're just completely copying every single person's post all the time over and over and over again. That's just like a little fear that's kind of just sitting in the back of your head. So try to let that go. I understand, you know, that fear, but I promise you, like, that stuff won't happen. I was at an event one time where Raina Odell was speaking, and she was like, I see you guys all the time use my wording, because she does that looking for women only, like that like came from her.
Right.
She wasn't even mad at it. She was just like, she said, I don't care that you use it, but if you use it, make sure that speaks to you and it's your, like, that's something that you would say, or you're sharing it in the way that you share it. So I wouldn't even necessarily worry about that, but just working that muscle, and it will come along. So
okay, thanks.
Okay. Of course. So I don't want to keep you guys on here any longer, but if anybody does want to share anything, you're more than welcome to I challenge you, go Facebook Live and share on the team page. Post your fear, like kind of like the last team call where she said like #now share in the team page. Like, go in the team page and share. Just call out your fear, share what it is. And then I will be happy to give tips of advice. There's other people in the team page that have lots of different ideas that they can share as well. But I appreciate all of you guys. See, I told you, I didn't even have to plan anything. I barely had any notes. So I was like, I hope people share, because I didn't plan team call. And all of you guys that showed up, I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody for sharing. I know it's not easy to share these things. And if you guys have anything that you're still really struggling with when it comes to mindset, kind of the way that we talked, message me or post in the team page. I'm happy to help. Thank you for hanging out for so long. Have a good night. Bye, guys.